It's time for another makeup video. So what I'm going to be doing today is taking a couple suggestions from my last makeup video on Facebook. Two of the suggestions were doing a full glam look and then doing a two-toned cut crease. So what I'm going to do is put those two together and knock out two birds with one stone. So if you want to see how I went from this to this, then just keep on watching. So I think I'm going to start off today with the eyes and brows, just so that way if I have any fallout, I can clean that up and it won't ruin my foundation. For brows today, I'm going to be using the Morphe brow cream in the shade Latte. This stuff is really creamy, hence the name brow cream. So you're definitely going to want to have, or at least try and have, a light touch with it. I like to focus on the bottom part of the brow and then just brush it out with the brush that usually comes on the other end, so that way it's not so blocky looking. So your brow should have less product here towards the front and then more towards the tail, and that gives it just a more natural brow look. Alright, and that's one brow done. I'm going to do the other one off camera. Alright, so both brows are done. What I'm going to do next is prime the eyelid with this Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. What's nice about this one is it has a tint to it, and so this will help to counteract any veins that you have in your eyes as well. Now this is a Lorac, it's a more high-end brand, so if you want a cheaper one, another one I suggest is the NYX Glitter Primer. This is definitely a lot more inexpensive. What I want to do is create a cut crease on my lid. So to do that, I'm going to try this technique that I've seen before. You're going to want to take your concealer and put it almost along the lash line as if you were doing eyeliner. You're going to want to look up as much as you can, and that'll create a cut crease for you. Okay, so my cut crease should be right there where that line is. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more all over the lid and then just use a shader brush to evenly spread that out. So I'm taking something like this. Alright, so that's the situation we have going on right now. It's gonna look a little weird until we start putting some other colors down, so trust the process. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye off camera. Alright, so now that you have your cut crease on both eyes, what you wanna do next is set that with a little bit of translucent powder, just so that way when you start putting your eyeshadow on, it's not tugging at your skin. Okay, so what I'm going to do for all over the lid is ColourPop Super Shock Shadow. It's an ultra glitter in the shade I Heart This. These are super creamy, and I just like to use my finger with it, so I'm just going to dip in like this. Take a good amount. And this is like a mix between a gold and a silver. It's really pretty. And I'm just going to pack that. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that my eyes look like a disco ball, what I'm gonna do is clean up some of the area underneath my eyes, because it looks pretty crazy. Okay, now everything's cleaned up. What I'm gonna do next is take a fluffy brush. This one is by Sigma Beauty. The brush number is E40 in case you were interested. And what I'm going to do is take a couple shades from the Conspiracy palette. I'm taking Tanacon and Diet Root Beer. I'm gonna start creating some depth in that crease. The main color for this look, for the crease, I want it to be more of a like purple plum sort of look. So what I'm going to do is first take the shade Amaretto from the Lorac Pro eyeshadow palette. Alright, to pack even more of a punch, I'm just going to take the same brush and I'm going to dip into Not a Fact from the Conspiracy palette. So that's what it's looking like so far. I think I want to deepen it just a little bit more. I know this is pretty dramatic already. You guys asked for a full glam look, so I'm gonna try and give it to you. I'm gonna take a slightly smaller brush. So this one is a little bit more tapered, helps you get a little bit more concentrated there in that crease. I think I got this set of brushes from Amazon. If I can find the link, I will let you guys know. But I'm going to take the color Black Currant from the Lorac Pro palette. This is a pretty dark plum color. And I'm going to work that in the outer crease. And that's what we got. All right, I'm gonna go off camera and do the other eye. All right, that's both eyes done. Now, I did lose a little bit of color right here just from blending a little bit too low. So what I'm gonna do to fix that is take that ColourPop Super Shock Shadow again and use my finger to reapply some of that glitter to the area where I lost it. Alright, that fixed it. Right now I'm moving on to foundation, just so that way I can get this face covered. I broke out a little bit within the past few days, but everything's healing really nicely thanks to my skincare. So today for foundation, I've been really liking the mixture of these two foundations. Well, actually, one's a foundation. It's by Yoma Beauty. This is a Black-owned beauty brand. It's in the shade Honey Honey T1N. And I've been liking mixing that with my Maybelline Dream Urban Cover So this is a sunscreen. It actually has SPF 50, which is awesome. Even on days like today where it's overcast, it's really important to still put sunscreen on your face to apply some SPF to protect it. That way you don't start looking old before it's time. Apply a little bit on the back of my hand of the Yoma, and then about the same amount of the Maybelline one. I'm just gonna mix that a little bit with my finger just to blend the two colors together. I'm gonna take that and apply it on my skin, and then I'll go and brush it out with a foundation brush, and then I'll lightly blend that out further with my makeup sponge. Now when I do foundation, I typically avoid the under eye area. On my under eyes, I like to have as minimal product as possible. If you're someone that has fine lines or wrinkles in your under eye area, that's definitely something you want to do. When you put too much product, so let's say that you go in with your foundation, you take it all the way under your eyes, you put it everywhere, right? When you go back in with your concealer, that's just another layer of something else under your eyes. And when you put too much stuff under there, it tends to make it really cakey. So I like to just put concealer there with a little bit of translucent powder after to again keep it minimal. Okay, so notice how that did a really good job at covering my different spots. If you have darker spots or acne, you can go back through with a concealer after and just spot conceal those extra places where you need some more coverage. My trusty concealer is the Too Faced Born This Way. I use the shade Natural Beige right now. And then what I like to do is take a beauty sponge. Make sure that it's clean. I clean this every time I use it. Make sure it's wet as well. And that really helps to blend out your concealer nicely. Alright, so that's nice and blended. It did provide me some pretty good coverage. What I'm gonna do now is take my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, look up. That way when you put on your powder, it's going to eliminate those creases. So pack that on right there. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Alright, both under eyes are now set. Okay, so off camera, I just lightly set my face with some Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. That'll just help to mattify the skin. It's really great, especially for you ladies that are a little bit oily like myself. Okay, I'm gonna take my Butter Bronzer. This is my go-to. You've seen this in basically every makeup tutorial that I've done so far. Again, I'm gonna take that in the hollows of my cheeks to create a really nice slimming look. I also like to take this on my forehead. It really just helps to give the illusion of a smaller forehead because you're creating a shadow right here. I just got this interesting looking contouring brush. I'm gonna try this out on my nose. Now this might go south really quick. We'll find out. I'm gonna use the Ciate London Marbled Light in the shade Dusk. This is pretty pigmented, so I'm just gonna do a light hand and put that on the apples of my cheeks and take it back. And that just gives a nice flush to the skin. Okay, next I'm gonna take a highlighter. This is the Dose of Colors highlighter in the shade Mírame. I'm just gonna put that on the high points of my cheeks, my cheekbones. And that is going to make you look like you are glowing. So I'm going to take this shade from the Conspiracy palette called My Pills and use that to lighten this area. I want to add a little bit more brightness here to the inner corners. So for that, I'm going to dip into the shade Soft Pearl from the Lorac Pro palette. This is a nice icy pink color that I think will go really well with this look. Okay, so for eyeliner, I'm going to take the shade Midnight from the Lorac Pro palette and use that to create a really soft but dramatic eyeliner look. Alright, so I finished the other eye off camera. Just notice how soft and sexy that looks. For my lips, I'm going to take the lippy pencil from ColourPop in the shade BFF2 and line the lips. For the lipstick shade, I'm going to take the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Zuma and fill in my lips. Alright, lashes are on. Alright, so there you have it, my full glam cut crease look. If you enjoyed this look, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!